Hello and welcome to my first video review, which is about Chai by Deep Aqua Games. It's a 1 to 5 player game, so there's a solo mode. It takes about 20 to 60 minutes depending on players and depending on how things come out. Age 8 or above, I think that is quite true. It is a relatively light game and it looks quite light on the face of it, but very quickly it can be very complicated. What you see here is a printer plate prototype only, so the final results will be obviously much better. It will come onto Kickstarter on the 4th of December, so keep an eye out for that and have a look on the Kickstarter page to see what the actual final components look like. So this is something I've printed out myself and cut out myself, so it's a bit rough and ready. And I'm using some metal coins and a little ballpoint pen tip to indicate the rounds that we're playing. The game is basically about fulfilling custom orders from the customer pool or customers you've reserved, making tea of flavors and additives and your base tea colors. Now you don't have to make tea of your own color only, so the green player can quite happily fulfill that blue order for the oolong tea, and vice versa, the blue oolong player can fulfill green tea orders. But whenever you do that, you pay your other player a coin, and the coins are used in the market, and I think the market is actually the most interesting mechanism in the game. It creates quite complex situations. But more to that in a minute. Just looking at the orders, quite simple, very lovely symbols, very beautiful graphics everywhere. So all you're trying to do is get, in this case for example, 6 jasmine to complete this order and a green tea leaf. So you pay, if you're not the green player, pay the green player 1 coin and they have to give you a green tea leaf. And you can complete the order and place it into one of these, what should be teacups. I've not put the teacups in, I've run out of room. But these then are tips ranging from 0 to 2 coins. Orders that are completed are then filled up again. Similarly, you can take orders and reserve them again. You can take orders of a different color than your own. And during each turn, you can do one of 3 actions. You can either go to the market, and at the market you can buy as much as you have money for. You can choose additives, and in this case you actually get 2 actions. Or you can reserve one of these custom orders and then also carry out one of these special abilities. And always, once you've done one of those 3 actions, if you can and if you want to, you can complete an order from the order pool in the middle or ones that you've reserved. And that's basically it. Once both orders in the 2-player game have been completed, the next round starts, and there's 5 rounds in total. At the end of the game, you then basically add up the points from your completed orders. You don't lose points for orders that you haven't completed. And that's more or less it. But as I say, it sounds very simple, but it actually gets quite tricky quite quickly. So let's look at the market. If you go to market, you get 3 coins immediately. Let's say the green player is the starting player and decides to do that. The idea is that you basically sell your tea to the market, get some money for it, and then you can start shopping. The market is divided into 3 sections. This you can't quite see because I've covered up these tokens. The market is covered up by all these tokens that are bigger than they probably should have been. But there's basically 3 areas. The first column is worth 1 coin. The next 2 columns are worth 2 coins, and the next 3 columns worth 3 coins. So depending on what you buy, you pay between 1, 2 or 3 coins. Now, it's not as simple as just choosing one flavor and buying that, but you always have to buy all flavors that are connected horizontally or vertically of the same type. So, simple example, jasmine, all these flavors of jasmine are connected, so you'd have to buy all 3. Great opportunity here is obviously for the lavender. There's 5 of those connected. You could buy all 5 in one go. Whenever you do that, you pay the price of the highest token. So in the case of jasmine, it would be 3 coins for 3 Yasmin. In the case of lavender, you would be paying again 3 coins because the highest one is in the 3 column. And then you take those away, which I'll do now. It's a bit tricky, as I say. And then the green player gets those tokens, puts them in the tea chest, and can potentially complete that contract after obviously paying those 3 coins for the lavender. Now what happens next? This immediately all slides along. So each row slides along, and suddenly there's 4 mint altogether at the price of 2 coins, which might not help the next player very much, but is obviously an opportunity. And again, as I said, if the green player had 2 coins left, they could have bought the 4 mint as well. And we just refill the market with more tokens from the bag, which I won't do because it'll take a little while. But this is a really clever mechanism. It makes you really think about which order you buy things in, whether you buy something at a higher price just because you want 1 token, and because you don't want your opponent to suddenly get lots of one kind, like we've just made 4 mint all together, or whether you buy something cheap first to move things along to then give you yourself the opportunity to buy lots of flavors all in one go. And that does create a very quick, tricky puzzle very quickly, very interesting. The additives work in a very similar way. Of course, the green player is finished now, they could complete this order, but when I'm looking at that, I'm just going to go through all the options you can do. Additives work in a very similar way. In this case, again, you buy all additives of the same type. In this case, they don't actually have to touch. So if it was like this, you could still buy 2 vanilla, and you don't pay anything in this case, you literally just collect it and put it in there. The stack is refilled, and then you get another action with the additive, so you could buy now 3 sugar. The 3 options you have here is 2 actions of either reset, buy, or just draw 1 from the stack. So sometimes if you're looking for a specific additive that isn't out, you might want to decide to reset the whole row in the hope that the next 4 flavors additives that come out are the ones that you need. If they are, great, you can take them. If not, you still have the opportunity as your second action to then draw 1 randomly, not randomly, just from the top of the draw pile. And as I say, the other option you have is to reserve one of your customers. If you do that, so say it's the blue player's turn, they chose not to buy these additives, but reserve one of these customers. They don't have to pay anything to the opponent at the moment, only when they're complete. This gets refilled, and now they can take one of these actions, special actions, which can be quite useful. So you can only do these when you reserve a customer, and at that point, really, again, you can now complete your contracts or custom orders and place them on here. Choose which one of these 2 you want to do, turn it over, and hopefully you get a lovely tip as well. In this case, you get 2 coins, which you can use in the future. And as I say, once both orders have been fulfilled, the round as a whole is over, and we move along to the next one. And at the end of 5 rounds, the whole game is over, and we count up all our completed orders, and who's got the most points wins. Yeah, so my thoughts on the game are, it looks very light, it looks very simple, but it is a very clever, complex puzzle that develops very quickly. The market alone is amazing. As I say, you do have to really think ahead of what you buy when, in what order, whether you leaving something for your opponent, whether you should buy something now. You always have the option as well to reserve a contract or an order that your opponent might be taking, to sort of sneak it away from them because they can't complete orders that you have in your hand, saying that you're only allowed to have 3 orders reserved at any one point, so there is a limit to what you can do. Taking an order obviously means you can carry out one of these advanced actions, which is great, but it does limit what else you can take. There may be additives out that you really need for one of your orders, a high scoring one, So do you take those first and let your opponent to, give the opportunity for them to complete one of the orders, or do you go to the market to buy things? It is very clever, very tricky, and it's a real puzzle. You have to really think about what you do in what order, and keep an eye on the other players as well. I've played it 2 and 3 players. We all enjoyed it. My wife and daughter really enjoyed what we were playing here. We've played several times since, and looking forward to Kickstarter coming out. Actually, I'm going to keep a close eye on that. I will definitely see what it looks like. I mean, already the graphics, the illustrations are really beautiful, very pretty, and yes, I think it's a game that you should keep an eye out. I think Dan and Connie have done a really good job there. It's really clever, and I think it's almost a gateway game to get people into thinking about sort of work placement and these ideas of going to market and buying things. My wife was reminded of the Hanging Gardens, the sort of idea of what tile do you take to line up, and then what do you get if you play a temple. So there's that in there, and it is very clever, very beautiful. So I strongly recommend you keep an eye out for the Kickstarter when it comes out. As I said, that's going to be 4th of December is the plan, so not long now. And if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like and comment below. That's all very welcome. Also check out my blog, which I have put the review of this game on as well. The link is in the section description of this video underneath. And also on a Patreon, so always welcome to look at that. Again, the link is in the description to this video. Thanks very much for watching.